Anxious to step through the gate again, Major?
Yes, I am.
We all are.
Would you like us to bring back anything special?
No thanks.
Groceries, new outfit, flatware?
No, just yourselves in one piece, please. Dial it up. You safe.
Welcome to the Jumping Puddles podcast. Be sure to listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and or YouTube, and follow us at Jumping Puddles Podcast on Tumblr and Instagram, and Jumping Pud Pod on Twitter. Hi, I'm Sam, and with me are my fellow co-hosts Tor and Ash.
Hello!
Hi!
Yes, and today we have a very special episode for you. Today is the Season 1 wrap-up. Woo!
Woo!
We made it. We're here. It only took us 10 months and 2 tries. We made it. Today's the Season 1 wrap-up. So if you've watched our mid-season bonus episode, you'll know how this goes. We'll go over the latter half of the season, give our 2 cents, our thoughts, some of our favorite episodes, our favorite character arc, and towards the end, we will dive into fan comments, which we are super excited about.
Our favorite bit.
Literally. And again, feel free, you can message us at jumpingpuddlespod@gmail.com. And you can DM us anytime on any of our social media accounts. However, if we do not get back to you immediately, it's because we're probably saving your comment for one of these special bonus episodes, so we can react to it on air. So yeah, don't feel too bad if we don't reply. I swear we're just saving it till the mid-season / season wrap-up. But yeah.
We see you. Don't worry.
We see you. We see each other. How do we like this season, guys?
We love it.
We love it. We are Season 1 defenders.
Yes. Stands forever. And I think this rewatch has just
Hardcore.
cemented it. For sure.
I know, yeah. Especially because we talked about it so much and just listed all the things we love about it constantly. It's just so good.
Very.
Seriously, I'm really proud because I feel like we really balance like our criticisms and like our positives a lot. Like we gushed about this season so much, but we're not afraid to call out its mistakes and its little BS it pulled. So I'm happy we kind of like we had a good balance, and so I think we'll continue that for like 2 more seasons, and then the balance will completely go off rails. So just a warning.
Yeah.
No promises. We're gonna keep up this positivity.
We'll try. I'm gonna say we'll try, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll keep an open mind. As much as possible.
Exactly. Here at the Jumping Puddles podcast,
We
we're
try.
big. Yeah,
That's our motto.
that's our new motto. We try. Yeah, no, we're big on open-mindedness. We're big on accepting. This is a no judgment free zone. Well, actually, lots of judgment, but like in a fun way.
Yeah, in a cute
In a healthy way.
Yeah,
Yeah, in a healthy way. Yeah, yeah. Not judgment towards us.
in a constructive way.
Always. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
There we go.
Constructive. I mean, what is there to say? How we love season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 1 thing I think I love about season 1 is just I feel like this is funny because it's greatest strength and also weakness. The character work in season 1 is so strong for certain characters, and then other characters unfortunately don't get the screen time that we would like to see, considering they're a part of the main / supporting cast. But the character work that is done is just so good. And I think, dare I say, the best of all seasons, what we shall see in the future. if that holds up.
Yeah, no, they just did a great job establishing the characters and I think setting up relationships. Like we always talk about Elizabeth and Rodney. They're just so good. And also I feel like especially towards the end, Rodney and Teyla, and of course all the other relationships as well, like platonic and romantic, whatever you want to read into it. It's all so good.
Yeah, and what Tor said earlier, I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Is this like the best season with its character work? Oh, I do think season 3 is a pretty strong contender from what I remember. Remember too much, but I do know that it has some strong moments. I want to say for like Elizabeth, for example. But I also, you're right. I'm thinking about season 3. I'm like, girl, what does Teyla do in that season? What does Teyla do in any season?
Fair. That's fair.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll definitely compare and contrast when we get to those later seasons. But for now, easily we can say its character work. I would say it's like a good 8 out of 10 for its character work.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned throughout this season, Sam, even the villain, or villains, I should say, the Wraith, are, like you said, at their scariest, at their peak in season 1. Particularly because we don't have Earth or the Daedalus to rely on. And that sense of isolation really helps with the spookiness, I think. And also cementing the character dynamics as well, because they have no one else to rely on but each other, really.
The bad family.
So much.
But no, I'm glad you brought that up, Tor, because I was gonna say, again, I think a big reason, we've talked about this so many times, like take a shot every time we mention how much we love the survival aspect of season 1 and the isolation of the colony, you know. We love it here. We stand it so hard. And I think, Intruder is up next, and we're gonna dive into that. We're gonna dive into that and what we like and what we don't like about the Daedalus being a constant backup plan for a lot of season 2. But yeah, the survival aspect is really good. And it sucks that I think a lot of people really were excited about the potential of Atlantis being its own independent colony. Everyone talks about it all the time, like independent colony, Atlantis, like what we could have had and stuff, you know? And you just see the potential, especially in season 1, of how far they could come as humans alone in a new galaxy. And it was robbed.
Yeah, darn that Deus Ex Daedalus.
That's gonna be a spicy episode. I already know. My rants are already piling up in my mind. Like,
Ooh, okay. I'm very curious about that episode because I love it.
I do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun stuff in it as well.
Right? Yeah. So I'm very looking forward to it, that one. Yeah. But yeah, season 1. I also love like about the second half now in particular. I love how they just figure out more stuff about the city and everything, and also just I like how connected the second half is, especially, and like they are all. I like this idea of shows having like an overarching plot, but also the episodes are all individual episodes, and I think I just really like that. Like all the episodes, they kind of build up on another, but they also you can just watch one and be happy with it. Especially not especially, but not with the Siege, obviously, because it's a finale and everything. But yeah, just in general, I love how it's all connected a little bit. I really like that.
For sure, you get a little treat if you're a continuous viewer, and also it's what's that word? It's accessible for people who are just tuning in, catching a rerun. You get to know the characters really quick, and they don't have to know all of the lore to still be interested in what's going on in that one episode.
Exactly. And I think you brought up a good point, Ash, because I think a lot of people would criticize the beginning of season 1 because of how disconnected each episode is, and I get that. Especially if maybe this is like your first introduction maybe to the franchise, it could be a little disjointed and kind of a little random as they just kind of hop from adventure to adventure. But I think the later half of season 1 just really brings it all together. And I think it really shows you kind of all of its strengths. If you can make a complaint about season, like the beginning half of season 1, maybe it shows some of its weaknesses more with like the lack of Ford existing, and like sort of the disjointed nature of it all. But I think season 2, my bad, the back half of season 1 plays to its strengths, like shows you how effective the villains are. They bring a little more character work into each character, with Teyla having her own episode about her special gift, and Elizabeth's episode, and you get a little more information about Ford. So yeah, I think the ending of season 1 is just so strong. And it's just really, if you really don't like the beginning episodes, it would be kind of mind-boggling because of how much we loved them all as we kind of dived in. But if you don't like them, I think it's 110% worth it to just push through and get to like episode like 14, 15, and just from then on, it's just 10 out of 10s, really. Or like, it's always like 8 out of... Nothing's ever below like a 7, I think. I don't know if we've ever rated anything that low in season 1. To be
No, I don't
especially
think so.
in the later...
Yeah,
especially in the endings, it's just 9s, 10s. It's just bangers.
So true.
I think maybe the reason why the beginning of Atlantis is a bit more episodic is maybe because of SG1, because I mean SG1 also had a bigger plot, but I feel like they were more episodic, more alien of the week, kinda. And maybe that's why they started, like, maybe that's why Atlantis started off that way, and then they just found something that worked better for them. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. That's definitely, when you mentioned that, I was like, oh my god, you're so right. I definitely have been trying to like emulate early season 1, and then I think they realized they're like, that might not be the right tone or like the right format for this show specifically. And I enjoy more of the character driven episodes rather than like the let's go to a planet and see this little village and oh no, something's gonna happen at this little village like kind of deal.
Speaking of character driven episodes, should we move on to our favorite character arc?
Ooh. Yes, let's do it.
Nice segue.
Thank you.
Always
I usually
queen.
suck at these, but thanks.
Amazing transition.
Ooh, who wants to tackle this one? Now, we said unanimously Rodney last wrap. So
we did.
I wonder who it will be this time.
We'll all agree too.
I feel like for the second half, it's kind of harder because there was so much happening. I feel like.
Yeah.
And but I'm gonna say that my favorite character arc, or maybe arcs, it's kind of hard to decide. Is I might be biased, but Elizabeth. I think we learn a lot more about Elizabeth in this episode, in this part, especially because she has her solo episode with Before I Sleep, but also in Letters from Pegasus, we learn more about herself, how she also about personal stuff and how she handles being away from Earth. And we see a lot of her leadership. Her style, and I think that's very interesting, and how she handles everything, and also with the siege in the end. That must have been fucking terrifying for her, because she's not a military person, and she had to defend the city somehow or find a way. So yeah, I'm gonna say Elizabeth is probably my first choice. I don't know if I'm making sense, but yeah.
Oh, you are. I follow.
100%.
And then the other I was thinking about is Teyla, because we learned this whole new side of her with the Wraith DNA and her. I would have liked, I think we talked about this, but it would have been cool to see more of her coming to terms with this side of her, and more like, I don't know, having like her going to therapy again. I don't know, just talking it through and what it does to her, knowing that she has DNA of the enemy inside of her. But yeah, I really liked that too, that we learned that about her, that they gave her this and that she accepts it and uses it in the end. I think that's also really strong.
That's good. That was great.
Yeah, I think, I had an idea in my head of who I was going to say, and now I feel like you convinced me, Ash, by what you were saying. No, for real, that it was Elizabeth in this second half, because I feel like 13 was Hot Zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have Elizabeth struggling a little bit in terms of her leadership in Hot Zone, with John, with Bates, with the military side of Atlantis. And then progressively, I feel like with each episode, she really comes into her own, where there's this full circle that happens at the end, during the Siege Part 2, where I feel like she's like gained so much respect from the people serving under her, military and civilian, that they sort of rebuke the military authority that's trying to usurp her, because she's a great leader. Am I talking about the Siege Part 3 right now?
No, I don't think so, because Siege Part 2 is the one where the military from Earth comes in, right?
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I got scared for a second.
I guess, yeah. I mean, who cares if we kind of mention stuff about Siege Part 2?
Yeah.
Because we did kind of shove it into season 1. It was our bad, I guess. But it just makes more sense. So it's totally fine if you want to just mention stuff from it. Like, who cares?
Yeah, it's more of a cohesive thing.
Yeah.
And like you said, we also get to learn more about her as a person in Before I Sleep, which is really nice. You get to see sort of behind the veneer of strength, and you get some vulnerability as well, making her a complete character to me, like a real person, someone you can see and relate to and empathize for. So, yeah, I just think she took it for sure. Honorable mention, definitely Teyla. I agree as well. Because she does have the beginning of that arc there where she learns about more about her gift. And I just wish that season 2, I feel like it was season 2 job to go somewhere with it, and it didn't, which is unfortunate. But we'll get into that when we get to season 2.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think I'm tied with them. Like, I really can't pick like a winner, to say the least. I don't know, because I think easily the winner could have been Teyla if it had kind of had like more. We talked about it, like more, and again, it should have popped up in season 2, so maybe that's why they were like, we'll save it for later, and then just kind of forgot. But I do think that what I love about like Teyla's arc specifically is how she ties into the Wraith directly. She directly ties into the villains, and especially when you see everything that the Wraith have done, not only to her and her people, but like the entire galaxy. You see like the effects on, what they've done to societies in general. And so I think it just makes it all the more horrifying for her to realize that she does have some of their DNA. And, I'm sure it would have been so interesting to see her wrestle with, well, is it in my DNA to be more violent, or is it just who I can be sometimes? I can see her getting kind of like angry sometimes and then being like, oh my god, I'm turning into a Wraith. Like, I can see her struggling with that kind of mentality. It makes me so sad. Someone rewrite like an entire I need to read more Teyla centric, where it's just her dealing with her Wraithness. But yeah, so I think what could have been explored there is just so good that I just feel like I almost want to give the edge to Teyla, but again, since there's not really there's not really a moment for her to kind of like wrestle with it quietly, because again, it's like the siege, like everyone's dying, there's bombs everywhere. Like, there's no time for anyone to sort of like take a moment to themselves and like realize like what they've just learned. But yeah, so I would say Teyla if it wasn't for that. But again, Elizabeth, for everything you guys said too, she really, I think you can really see how different she is from Hammond in these few episodes that we get towards the end. And I think it's what kind of makes her her own character, and not just some guy that's like, hey team, how'd the mission go? Like, it's not just some guy they see occasionally and they're like, haha, we just betrayed your roles. Like, no, like you see her like struggling with leadership, you see her struggling with other things, with her personal life. And you see that she has a much more like, I feel like with SG1 and Hammond, it's almost kind of like fatherly dynamic, kind of, right? Or like older authority figure. It's like, it's not like they're like in Hammond's room, like, hey Hammond, like, let me tell you about my day. Like, no one's in there, But I feel like with Elizabeth, like, John is always in her like office, just sitting on her desk, and I could just see we were robbed of seeing just everyone just hang out in her room. Like, I could see Rodney just bringing his computer one day and just like sitting. And they're just like working together silently in her office. Yeah. Totally off topic. But yeah, no. I think she really comes into her own as a character. And I think especially these last few episodes, I think they really made us sympathize and just care about her on her own, and aside from just the leader of the base. And so I am excited to get into season 2 and to see what they do with her, because I honestly don't remember if they progress her story much either. I don't remember if they progress anything in season 2, so we shall see.
Yeah, it's interesting. Did we again collectively decide on Elizabeth? Not again, but like on the same.
I think so.
Our favorite arcs are again the same.
We'll say Teyla Beth, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of, or
Yeah.
is it? Yeah. Okay. We'll say Teyla
Yes!
Beth was.
Perfect. Also, side note, when you said earlier that you wanted to read more Teyla-centric fanfiction with her, coming to terms with it, but I remember the fanfiction that I wanted to write, a Teyla with fanfiction with, I think after the episode or during like the gift, and her just not knowing how to cope with that, and Elizabeth being there for her, or trying to be there for her. Yeah.
Oh, please write it.
Can't wait to read it.
Oh my gosh, I need it so badly.
Yeah. I need to go. No, not I need to, but I'm very deep into a Star Trek obsession right now. So,
It's taking over.
I'm just waiting for Stargate to just circle back in there. So it might come one day.
It's inevitable. It always does.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so true.
Yeah. But Tor, I'm curious. You said you had an idea of what you were going to say about this?
Yeah, I at first in my mind I was gonna say Teyla first as well, just because, but still both of them. 2 works.
Nice.
Yeah.
They come as a pair, anyways, in our minds. So
Yeah, seriously. Also,
And-
there were so many hidden gems. Sorry, of moments between them in the like Siege Part 2, Siege Part 3. Like I really forgot. Like I will never get over that balcony scene. Oh, it's so Romeo and Juliet. I love it. When Taylor's being held back and Elizabeth's just looking down her.
Oh God. Oh. Yeah.
That scene is so powerful.
Yep.
Yeah,
and jumping back to what you said, Sam, I really like how you said that Teyla's whole story kind of ties into the plot of the show at this stage. And it really grounds it for the audience. I feel like you can stay kind of removed from the whole Wraith being this destructive force because, okay, we saw the genocide of the Athosians, but they're sort of portrayed as unfortunately other in the show instead of being like a part of Atlantis at that point, at least. But with Teyla has become a part of the group. And as the audience, I feel like her being directly tied to the Wraith or having a connection there makes the audience feel like it's a more personal fight than just a good versus evil thing, which is more compelling, in my opinion, than just like, oh, bad aliens, let's destroy them.
I mean,
Yeah.
exactly.
Definitely.
It's so interesting too because I feel like it directly ties into Andor. Sorry, we're gonna bring in Star Wars. Usually I bring in Trek, but I'm gonna bring in Star Wars into the mix.
Ooh.
I don't know if you guys, I don't know how many of our listeners, we're gonna really date this episode, have been watching Andor. But Andor is just, mind is blown. It's so amazing, and I think it's doing what I wish Atlantis would have done. Obviously, it didn't have to be like on this scale of like gritty and realistic, but it would have been cool to see them kind of bring more into that because what you said exactly, Tor, how it's not just a fight between good versus evil. In Andor, you really see like the gray, and they really bring it down to like a realistic. Like honestly, you could watch the show and be like, "Girl, am I watching the Star Wars universe?" Because they bring up like all the horrible things that the Empire has done. You know, it's very much like this is the beginnings of a rebellion. There's so much like political commentary kind of strewed in, and obviously, again, I totally get this. This isn't the vibe for Stargate or Atlantis and stuff, but kind of just like comparing the two, it would have been insane. It would have been so good if they had just brought a little more of that like realism and the grittiness that Andor has and put it into Atlantis because you could really just do so much with Teyla, especially, you know, realizing that she has Wraith DNA. And you guys need to watch Andor, okay? So I can talk about it like in full detail and spoilers. You can like see what I mean too, because like I don't want to like spoil it, especially for everyone else who's listening. I won't spoil it, I promise. I don't know how to describe it other than saying like gritty and realistic because it's just like it just feels like real. Like the characters feel like real people stuck in this war against like imperialism, against fascism. And so I think it just would have been cool if they had incorporated just those little details to make it all the more real and disturbing in Atlantis, because I do think that they kind of sweep some things under the rug. Yeah, some things I feel like are just, they're not as like hard hitting as they could, you know. It very much feels like, oh yeah, like she has Wraith DNA, and it's like, oh, but it could have been like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't have
Just
a good
shameless.
segue this time.
I know. I was like, that was just shameless Andor plug.
I gotta watch that now.
If you're not watching, I know. If you're not watching Andor right now, what are you doing? Genuinely, it's the best thing Star Wars has put out in my mind since Rogue One.
What?
Personally, seriously,
Oh,
I
damn.
every episode I'm obsessed. Even like the fillers, there's just so much character work. The dialogue is
There are
great.
more episodes?
Again, I totally get it's not what Atlantis is, but I think that would have been really cool to see more of a realness brought, because I think some of the characters and some of their sort of flaws and insecurities like don't like, because I feel like people tend to like skip over Teyla's like Rathini part.
Even the
They
writers
kind of just
themselves.
ignored. Yeah, exactly. Because the writers ignore it, and because they didn't like emphasize how much of a big deal it was. People are just like, yeah, right, Teyla, she's just like the cool one that does like stick fighting, and it's like, damn, you're missing out like the biggest part for character, arguably.
Yeah, and it's something that is could have been so. It's already compelling, like as a premise, but it could have been so much more compelling as a story thread, or a character thread, I should say, where, you know, people are like, oh, she's so strong, you know, she got over it so quickly, and she just whatever for the sake of the team and the sake of Atlantis. But at the same time, there's a strength in the journey as well, and I would have liked to seen the journey just a little bit more, but.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll just say this really quick. But no, because especially when you think about season 5, like she dresses up as a Wraith Queen, and it's like, are you not like severely like traumatized by this? Like, are you not? How you feeling, girl?
Yeah.
She's still like, I'll do it for the team, and I'm like, but let me know how you feel. How are you feeling? Besides the I'll do this for Atlantis. Like, what are your true, you know, like, we just have to guess, which sucks. We have to guess a little bit, you know.
We have to write fic. This is what we have to do.
So we can go on to top 3 episodes of season 1.
Ooh.
Go.
Okay. I can go.
Yes, do it.
Yeah, please.
This time I have them ranked.
Oh.
Yeah, so my third favorite is Letters from Pegasus. I love this episode, and it's so good. I'm probably just reiterating everything that I said on the episode, like on but just I love it for the character moments, for how it ties like the season to the finale, kinda. Because everything, so much happened, and then it's like a little breather, like, okay, shit is about to go down. You're gonna take a moment and just think about what happened and what might happen, and then send out goodbye messages and all that stuff. So I really like that. Yeah, and just it's so good. And then on second place, I have Before I Sleep. That was actually hard because I think before this podcast, I would have easily said this as my first choice. And it's probably still a comfort episode for me, and I would just watch it when I miss Elizabeth or whatever. But yeah, the reason why I love it is because it's Elizabeth centered, and it's so fucking good. We learn so much about Elizabeth and about her character. It has such cute moments also with the rest of the team, especially with John and Rodney and Elizabeth. And yeah, just so good. And then my favorite episode of the second part of season 1 is The Siege Part 2. Because I think I gave it a 10 out of 10, but I probably could have also given it an 11 out of 10 because it's so good. It has this amazing it's such a roller coaster, right? But it's again so many good character moments. We have the fucking military coming in, and Elizabeth standing up for herself, with the whole base defending her, basically saying, so hey, if you cut her out of the loop, we're all out. And yeah, amazing episode.
Good choice. Good choice, bro. Do you want to go, Tor, or do you want me to go?
I have two of the same episodes on my list, so we are almost 3 for 3. Now, this was really hard. I don't know if you guys had a hard time choosing, but I was like, oh, darn, like, this is good for this reason, and this episode's good for these reasons. But I think just overall, with subjective and objective reasons combined, my third favorite, and you guys might be shocked by this, was the Brotherhood. Not necessarily for plot reasons. When I think back on season 1, and I think of, like, team shenanigan episode, that's, at least in the back half of season 1, that's the episode I think of. I just really like those strange romps off-world where, of course, things always go wrong. And the mission isn't successful, but we made it all home in one piece, so it's okay. The bantering, particularly in the beginning of the episode, and the fight scenes are really fun, so I couldn't not put Brotherhood on there for that reason. Number 2 favorite was, of course, Letters from Pegasus. For all the reasons you said, Ash. The character work in that episode is just top tier. I love it. It's so great. We get to see little bits of these characters past, like Zelenka, like Elizabeth, like Rodney, and John even, through the things they say and the things they don't say. And my favorite thing in television is showing and not telling, and I feel like they did a lot of that in that episode, particularly with John, who chose not to do a video message home, which just screams a lot about his character and where he's at the end of the season. And that episode was also great just because of the little moments between characters too, like the little conflict between Teyla and John was super interesting. The friendship between Elizabeth and Rodney is top tier in that episode. Yeah, just a great one. And then of course the Siege Part 2. Again, for the reasons you said, Ash, cannot get over the amazing leadership of Elizabeth. Her journey is culminated in that episode completely. We see she has John's respect. We see she has everyone on the base's respect. Rodney's respect, hands down. She goes out herself and does some legwork. We get to see her flex her negotiation muscles, which is always amazing to see. Love that for her. And yeah, just an awesome way to tie up the season. Great balance of action, character pieces, just excellent. Got me emotionally. I feel like if I was watching the show while it was airing, I would just be floored. I would not be able to wait the 6 months for the next season. It just would not be okay. Great cliffhanger. So good.
Yeah. Good choices.
Yeah, great choices for real. Some good choices. So you guys are gonna fucking laugh.
Oh no!
I'm already so ready.
Yeah.
I'm so ready. Just hear me out, okay? Hear me out. What are our listeners called? We call them we should call them like Puddles or something. I don't know. We should have like a little like nickname for
So
them.
they're all a puddle.
Yeah, they're all our Puddles, I guess. Is that kind of cute? We'll brainstorm. We'll do a poll or something. But I think for now, I'm gonna call you guys all the Puddles listening. Just hear me out, okay? Just hear me out. Number 3 is Sanctuary.
What?
Oh, really?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. comfort episode. I'm sorry. It's a comfort episode. I'm sorry.
Okay,
It's hilarious.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It's hilarious.
It is.
You have so many cute moments between characters. You have Rodney being his worst.
Yeah.
John is also his worst. It's just so good. Elizabeth and Teyla are tired. Ford disappears halfway through the episode. It's hilarious. Like it's comedic as hell. I'm sorry, it makes me laugh every time I watch it. When I'm sick or when I'm like feeling down, I just put it on and I crack up. It's like bad parts are just hilarious to me. Like it the actual agent herself, she's so gay. Like it's so funny. Like it just wow, it's hilarious. And I also think I was definitely influenced by the podcast. I honestly think that was one of our funniest episodes. We're just cracking up we're so unserious in that episode. We're so unserious. We fully made up that she went to Elizabeth's room and they begged. Like, that was so funny. That was seriously our best episode. One of our best episodes. If you haven't listened to that one, check it out. We're just cracking up the entire time. About all the other jokes we made, but we're just cracking jokes left and right. So for that reason, I think, obviously because of the podcast, and also just because it's hilarious. You can just laugh at everything. There's so many little things to pick and choose from. So that's number 3. Number 2 is actually Before I Sleep. Because, of course, it's one of the episodes that's just, I honestly think it's a standout in the whole series. Truly, I think just not only just for Elizabeth-centric episodes, you know, it gave us so much about her and her character and how she really feels about the city and how passionate she is about her work that she's doing there. But also, like, I'm sorry, I will never get over how they did an alternate timeline of episode 1. Like, that is genius. That's genius. And it's one of my favorite things I've ever done. Because when you're watching the pilot, you might just be like, oh yeah, this could go wrong. Wow, it's so happy that like everything made it through. But when you're watching Before I Sleep, I think you really realize how everything was set in motion thousands of years before for them to get on Atlantis. Everything that went wrong went wrong. It was horrible. And the fact that how many people like drowned, John and Zelenka died in space, like it's just crazy. And I feel like no matter how many times you watch it, I feel like you still feel those emotions of when they realize that they're all gonna die, they're all drowning under the base, and Rodney sacrifices himself. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And then yeah, Ancient Elizabeth, you get to see more about the ancients, sort of like our first big tease, you know, and they aren't horrible. Well, no, they are horrible. What's his name? Is the only good one. Janice? Yeah, Janice is Team Janice. But yeah. So yeah, I just love the episode so much. So good. And number 1, I mentioned this before, but I'm actually more of a Siege Part 3 stan.
True.
It was kind of cheating. Secondly, it's in season 2, but
Counts.
we put it in season 1, so we're gonna pretend it's season 1. But yeah, no, I think I just love the payoff of everything. There's seeing everyone reunite, seeing everyone be worried about John, worried about Teyla. I think you just really feel how close these characters have all become. And all the good Elizabeth and Rodney moments when they're, whispering, and she's like, "Why are you whispering?" He's like, "I just felt right," and she's like, "Oh, good." Like, it's so good. And again, you get your first real hint, not first real hint, but you get a huge hint to see towards like John's character and how he just really cares about the team and how they've become his surrogate family. You know, you see the panic in him when he realizes that like they're not responding. That he's like, "Atlantis, are you there?" Atlantis, like he's 3 seconds from losing it. I love it. The whole stuff with Ford hits so hard. Even though he's been absent for a lot of these episodes and he wasn't built up nearly enough as a character, it does still hurt to see him kind of go off the rails. It's really sad. And And yeah, John's little thing at the end where he's just staring at the gate and Elizabeth comforts him and she's like, well, we'll be okay, we'll find him, and he just kind of walks off. It's so good. It's so good. I love this episode so much.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great it's a great cap to a good season. It's like the perfect cherry on the awesome Sunday.
Literally. Oh wow. Now that we've talked for a good hour, even though this is supposed to be a 30-minute episode, now that we've fully gone off the rails, let's dive into our favorite portion. Let's talk about fan comments.
Yay! My favorite.
So, do you guys want to start? Well, I guess we can kind of organize it by app. So I don't know.
Sure.
So I got a message from K Enchanted. I think that's how it's pronounced. If not, I'm sorry. They were wondering if we were planning to do an Elizabeth character analysis episodes down the road, and if they can just contribute in some way through questions, comments, or art.
Kind of. I think we talked about this off air, so it's good that we'll just say it on air too.
Yeah.
So I think if I remember correctly, I think we mentioned we would do like analysis episodes for Atlantis characters when their like story was done. Right?
Oh yeah.
I think we said so we can do like, for like obviously like John and Rodney, it would have to wait till like after Atlantis is done completely.
Ooh,
but for
juicy.
Elizabeth, I mean, we could do it. Yeah, I mean, we could do it, season 4 if we want, or we can do season 5 if you want to include fake Elizabeth. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could do season 4. I feel like we'll talk enough about fake Elizabeth in her own episode.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, we definitely. I think so. Is that you guys down for that?
Yeah,
Definitely.
no, I thought we were planning on doing an Elizabeth, but yeah, we're planning to do one, but in the like far future, like in 1.5 years or something.
Yeah, we'll
and
definitely.
I don't know.
do
I
it.
think it could be fun to ask or let people ask questions about characters, or that we just can include. So yeah.
Yeah, if you want to send us your comments about Elizabeth's arc in general or her character in general that we can read or discuss on that episode, we are totally open for that. Send it our way. We always want to hear your thoughts. That's why we do this.
Exactly. And honestly, thank you so much for mentioning that, because now I'm thinking, you're right, it'd be such a good idea if we okay, next time for future reference, sorry, we'll definitely advertise that we're doing a bonus episode on a character, so you guys can like send us comments and questions about the character. We'll do that, because that's a good suggestion. We did not do that for Daniel, but I'm so interested to see how everyone thinks about certain characters, good or bad. So yeah, so down.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh yeah, it's also by K Enchanted, and it's, do you think any of the Atlantis crew could be neurodivergent, and if so, specifically who?
Ooh. Excellent question. I feel like everybody kind of has the potential.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
100%. I talked about this kind of, not super in detail, but I talked a little bit about it on my Tumblr. I just kind of, the conversation came up. And obviously, I think everyone across the board can agree with Rodney. Zero.
Yeah.
Like, complaints. Zero, like, Rodney's on there. But I talked about in detail about John. And I think John is also, like, I would say clear across the board. Like, I think it's very obvious, kind of, the more you dive into his character and his traits that he kind of exhibits. But yeah, I think you can make a case for all of the team. I really think you can. Like, I can't think of one character. I mean, not to single out Carson, but maybe not. How do we feel about Carson?
Now I'm thinking.
I think you can maybe make the case it's either or for Carson, but like for everyone else, like Zelenka, Elizabeth, Teyla, Ronan, like all of them are neurodivergent for sure. They're all on some sort of spectrum.
Yeah, Ford as well.
Mm-hmm.
Something else, but I do know that we did kind of talk about, me and the ask, how it's a lot harder for girls to be diagnosed, right? Because like it just happens later in life, and they're just never really sure if it's just like, you know, part of who they are, or if it's on, or they could be on some sort of spectrum. So I can't really speak for Elizabeth and Teyla, besides I personally think that they are definitely on the spectrum. I'm sure if we kind of like analyze more of their like character traits, you could probably see it a little more. But I did kind of talk more about John in specific, so I can say that like I definitely think a lot of John's traits are very neurodivergent. You know, his like special interest, his inability to look people in the eye. I believe that is one of the traits. I can't find the ask. I don't know where it went. I don't remember. No, I'm sorry. It's been forever. But I definitely think John and Rodney, and I definitely believe David Hewlett has said before that he thinks Rodney's on the spectrum for sure. Rodney's like hand gestures, you know, very.
I think we
big,
mentioned that before in an episode of the pod too.
Yeah. I think we did.
In regards to Rodney.
So that's all I can say. Yeah, especially regarding Rodney. Yeah. So that's all I can really say for them. But I do believe that all of them could easily be on the spectrum.
For sure.
The last thing of Instagram that I want to mention, Kay and Scribbles did a bit of fan art, and one is from this, I think, the story, what we came up with, Kolya and his burn book and that shit. They did a fan art for that, and it's really funny. I will link that, or will link that in the description. And another one that Kay and Scribble did was like a meme, but a personalized meme maybe. So it was on Star Trek Day, and it was just like, my Trekkie Trekker followers, and then it was just KN outside a window just vibing, and then like me vibing in the SGA fandom with the Jumping Puddles podcast, and there's a jumping puddle, puddle jump, oh my god, and there are 4 people inside, so I guess that's us. So,
oh yeah,
it's really, really cute.
Our own little gay team.
So cute.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh.
Yeah. So I will link those in the description.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's every time when I get like a message that someone tagged us in something, I'm like, people listen to us and people like us and they like our content. That's
They
so
make
cool.
art.
They make art.
I love it.
That's insane. To me, it's insane.
That's crazy. I mean, thank you so much, and thanks for vibing with us.
Yes.
I love that. You can vibe with us on the Atlantis side.
Always.
Go ahead, take it away, Tumblr.
All right, so we got quite a few for the back half of season 1. I will start with this ask from Rub-a-Dub 3 Nuns in a Tub. Excellent vlog name. They said, wait, I only just found this the other day and started listening today. Do you know how excited I am that there are other people my age creating content in a fave fandom of mine that I thought was dead? I'm going to binge this now. Thanks so much! Exclamation mark. Thank you for listening to us and still caring about Atlantis all these years later like we do. It is a small but mighty group of Atlantis devotees, and we are happy you are joining us on our journey of rewatching as well.
Yay! Thank you. That is so sweet.
We hope you enjoy and have lots of episodes to listen to. They also mentioned. Remember talking about Jinto earlier on and wanting him to appear more? Well, I couldn't not tell you that there's a short story in the book Stargate Far Horizons where Jinto and Torin are on a gate team together. They travel back in time to during the siege on Atlantis to help Zelenka get to the chair room to save the day. What?
Wait, what?
Jinto goes by Dr. Hallingson because Zelenka helped him get his PhD in mechanical engineering. And I know it's not technically canon, but don't you want it to be? Yes!
It is canon now. It is in our canon. In the Jumping Puddles canon, it's definitely part of that now.
It's in the show now for us.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I might cry. That's adorable.
No,
I think it's Jinto and Torin. They go back in time to help with the siege.
That is so
Perfect
Thank
to find
you for
out.
letting us know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The timing, especially for our season 1 wrap.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. No, seriously, thank you so much for telling us.
And the fact that Jinto goes by, like, Hallingson because of his dad.
That's so cute.
And the fact that Zelenka, like, we headcanon, had helped teach Jinto all about engineering. That is so cute.
Oh, I'm gonna cry about this forever. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for bringing this up. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Side note, sorry, but can you imagine like Torin like seeing Teyla like storm down the halls and like he's like, oh my god, she just found out she's the Wraith, and he's like, oh man, he's like, I'm just gonna go say something, and Jinto's like, no, don't, you're gonna ruin it, and Torin's like, I'm just gonna tell her something, and he goes up to her, and he's just like, thanks for being a good leader for us, or like something like just encouraging, or he says something in Athosian, and then walks off, and she's like, wait, what? But then like the war, siege is happening, so like she doesn't have time to think about it, but like
my heart.
Being a cute son, loving his mom. That's so cute. Like, imagine
everything to me.
like getting to see her in her element like that when she was young and hadn't had him yet. Like, oh, it's just that's really
It's just
sweet.
a vulnerable time where she needs him. She needs some reassurance, and some encouragement from someone.
Yeah, him coming from a place where she's achieved all these things, Wow.
Seriously, thank you so much. That was so nice of you to mention that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
I'm
you.
obsessed.
Who knew?
I love it. We will be adopting it into our Jumping Puddles canon for sure. We also got an anonymous message. They said they just listened to the first episode and they called us adorable. Thank you.
Oh,
That's very sweet.
oh God, our first episode.
I know. Wait, I was gonna say, not our first episode.
It starts like maybe with the storm. I don't know.
We were just wee babes back then.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know. I always say, yeah, you can always start with the. Well, that one's really dark, but I feel like that one's our first really good one was the Children Murder Planet.
Yeah.
I agree.
But if you don't want to start with that one, just skip over to the storm. After that, we get really good.
We promise.
Stick
But
with
thank
us,
you for
please.
listening to the first episodes nonetheless, even though they are
I know. Thank you. That's
Yes.
so kind. And for still like calling us adorable.
Very sweet. Another anonymous message asked, do you guys do a watch party when you guys watch each episode you critique, or do we watch them solo?
We watch them solo. I think it would be fun, but also I think we all have like our own way to like prepare for the episodes, and also just to find another time or another date where we all just together. It'd be kind of hard.
Damn those time zones.
Yeah, because we are on opposite sides of the world, truly.
Clearly.
For people who don't know, we actually don't know each other outside of... we met through Stargate, you know, on Twitter and Tumblr. I don't remember both of them. But yeah, so we don't live anywhere near each other.
No.
So it's nearly impossible to try to find a time where we're all awake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't watch Atlantis together. However, we are currently watching Universe together.
Yes.
We don't watch very often though, because again, we're busy, our schedules don't always line up. But we are on episode...
I think we watched 8.
Oh.
For sure.
Yeah. I think we're at episode 9 or 10. Yeah, so we're halfway through the first season of SGU.
Not bad.
So, yeah.
I think we started in like March or April, so
Don't say that!
Don't tell them that!
It's been that long. I was like, oh, we're doing so good. March and April. Damn.
Oops.
Well, to be honest, it was kind of rough in the beginning because the first 2 episodes of SG were very rough. So once you get past like episode 7, it's like, okay, things start picking up again.
I think I was also like on my deathbed when we watched the first couple episodes. So yeah, that might have affected our viewing schedule as well.
But actually, we do this little secret insider information. We do want to do some occasional watch parties.
Yes.
With the viewers, maybe in the future. Hint, hint, hint. Wink, wink, wink. Maybe one day.
Yes. Definitely. I just feel like if we did a watch party when we were prepping for episodes, I would be so distracted. I would just like be cracking jokes, laughing at things that you guys say, and just not paying attention at all. So
yeah.
No, yeah.
Also because I watch and then I watch it and then I stop to write stuff down and then I rewind and then I watch it again and then I notice something and then I write something down again. So it would be just a whole mess.
Yeah, it becomes like instead of a 40-minute affair, it becomes like longer, significantly longer.
A good hour all the time.
Yeah, at least.
I feel like is standard. Yeah, at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
All that would actually, plus I'm also getting clips. I'm screen recording things.
Yeah.
So I have to go back and after first I pause, take down the note, go back, screen record it, then continue on. Yeah. So it's a process.
Oh man. You're doing extra work. All right, and then we had another anonymous message. They say, "Hi team, thinking about the fanfic rec in the most recent episode made me wonder if maybe you'd think about doing one every episode. At the end of the podcast with the trivia and the Bechdel test, I love a fanfic rec. I've just read Ladies' Night at the Boom Boom Room and it's so good. So AU, but also so in character."
Ooh.
Thank you. I love that suggestion. I feel like we could totally make that work. 100%.
I feel like it would be more your thing because I don't read a lot of fanfic. The only I read is like Teyla Beth. I can give Teyla Beth Rex.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
But I think for sure I could find a fic that's either like an episode tag to each episode, literally, because there's so much fic in this fandom that's good. Or related somehow to the app. So yeah, I feel like season 2, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the suggestion. We'll definitely start doing that. And I think to just like, just wreck like Teyla Beth fics or like random rare pair. Like I'm down to let's find Elizabeth Ronan. Let's just throw in some rare pair at the end sometimes. If you want like just something different, or maybe just like a genfic if you just want to read the Atlantis team being silly. You know, it doesn't have to be any romantic pairings.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is actually really fun. We can add. Okay, well, I don't know about. We'll try to keep it short. Oh god, are notorious, so we'll try to keep it short. Last words.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we can kind of do like a whoever wrecks it can kind of like do like a little summary or maybe explain why they wrecked it. So it's not just like we're dropping this fic and leaving you in the dark. But yeah, that'd be so fun. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. We can do like fic we read that week or like recently too even. Yeah, it'll be so fun. And we're really glad that you liked our rec of Ladies Night at the Boo Boo Room because it's so fun. It's funny.
Oh, I love that one.
Prue is truly magical.
All these years later, and we're still thinking Prue.
Yes. Thank you for my life. You entertained me for many hours.
Their fics stand the test of time, truly.
Truly. Ooh, and this ask was particularly about the Brotherhood. And it's Just Call Me B, and they say, "Hi team, it's been a while since I watched the Brotherhood, but do we know for sure that the ancients called themselves gods? I always read it more as a legends that grew up over time kind of thing."
So like accidental gods.
Yeah, so like their stories or like mythos of their like power or their influence grew over time that they became as gods, but like they never came down and were like, "Hey, we're your gods now."
Pray to us. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's an excellent question. I'm not sure if they explicitly were like, "Hi, we're gods. These are our ancient artifacts that you need to keep safe." Or that story just became conflated into that. Do they say that textually in the episode? I don't know.
I don't think so, because I think the main reason, but like the main difference between the Aura and the Ancients were that the Aura actually called themselves gods. I think that's like kind of like the main thing, right? However, I do think that it's definitely like over time, like obviously legends, woven in and stuff. But I want to say that like the ancients like just never bothered to correct the natives as well. Low key, right? Because obviously like they lived for a long time. We don't really know much about like the ancients like golden era, we just know about their end. We don't know how long they've been on Atlantis. We don't know a lot about that. But I have to admit, like they have had to have lived longer than like 10,000 years, right? Like it couldn't have been like the siege part. So I don't know. I think that like legends did kind of maybe corrupt a few things, kind of exaggerated some details. But I also think probably this is just speculation, obviously. Let me just be clear, this is speculation, obviously. But I do think that they probably just didn't really bother to correct people because they were probably like, yeah, it's easier if they assume we're, because then like, then then they'll take care of our stuff real well. Like if they're just like some other civilization, they'd probably just be like, oh, I'm just gonna use this. But no, if they were gods, they'd be more serious about protecting and keeping their treasure safe.
Yeah, and I feel like you're right, and they do seem like the type that would use that to their advantage. Like, oh, you think us these powerful beings? Well, okay, if that helps you and encourages you to protect our ZPMs, then yeah, you can think that way about us, no problem.
Yeah. I also think it's kind of like their main, like, I don't want to say their main, like, downfall, right? Because wasn't it, like, they created the Wraith accident. I always kind of forget how they created the Wraith, but they kind of created the Wraith,
Oops.
And, like, the children came back to bite the hand that fed them kind of thing. So, I don't know, it gives off very, like, well, we're not going to correct them because we are kind of gods. And so I feel like their heads got too big for their shoulders, and that kind of bit them in the ass. So 100%. That's our Jumping Puddles canon.
Yeah, we may be biased because we always we don't like to see the good in the ancients because we just can't. But yeah, if anybody knows textually and they want to shoot us a message, let us know. And we will discuss it again on the pod.
Yeah, please actually, because, I mean, hey, I'm more than fine with admitting that sometimes the ancients were okay.
Yeah.
If they give us proof. If they give us proof, I'll take it. I'm okay. I can see the good and evil in people. But do we have any proof so far? I don't know. Yeah, please send it our way if you do have some proof.
Oh, and that is it for our Tumblr messages. Thank you to everybody who sent us a message, any comment, or nice word. We really appreciate it. And we love hearing from you. So please, please, please feel free to come in our inbox and message us about anything Stargate related or podcast related or anything. Anything at all. I mean it.
It's a threat.
No, seriously. No, I was a little scared of Tor. No, I'm kidding. No, but seriously, thank you so much. It was good, like, your compliments and stuff. We feel the love, and we're so appreciative. Thank you.
It warms our heart. We love doing this, and to hear that you like hearing us just makes our heart grow. So, thanks.
Okay, well, I'll give a little shout out to start off. Because our good old friend Portland with you wrote a fic based off of one of our ideas, which is like
our dream,
mind blowing. No, seriously, it's insane. You can check it out, and we'll obviously link it in the show notes. You can check it out, and it's called Producing Storms by Portland with You, and it's on AO3. And I'll read up the summary for you guys. So it's Zelenka and McKay are storm chasers who hire cameraman John Shepard off Craigslist to help them film while chasing.
I love everything about this fic. Oh my gosh, it's everything I ever wanted from a storm chaser AU. Love it. It's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Rodney, Zelenka, John banter on point.
So good. So good. It is Jen, so there's no romance. It's just Zelenka, John, and Rodney in a van. It's so good. The dialogue was amazing. Smiles on my face every time because it's like, what? Like, it's so good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing it into the world and sharing it with everybody. We love it.
Seriously, thank you for our life.
Yes.
Am I dreaming? Or did someone else? I feel like someone else wrote a fic. No? Am I being crazy?
Another, I don't know, it kind of feels like a present we've gotten. Is kind of like a paper, or you just said like a scrapbook of like the first 10 episodes of our podcast, and it's by Two Tails on Tumblr, and she just collected all our head canons, our fan fiction ideas, our fan art ideas, our general ideas about the show and everything. And it was some like big questions like, is it okay to let the wraith starve to death or stuff like that? So some questions we had, and we've even gotten, we could probably do an episode about this paper and just read through all the answers now in there. And that was really,
we should do that actually. Like an extra bonusode just on our lovely scrapbook.
Yeah, why not actually? So that was really, really cool, and I think it took a lot of work. So thank you a million times for that. That's amazing.
Yeah, reading through it just gave me this visceral feeling of nostalgia and like love. I don't know. I just felt so much warmth in my soul. It was so sweet, and there was just so much of fun on those pages. And thank you for answering and taking the time to answer those questions that we had. Really appreciate it. It's nice to see that somebody knows.
Yeah.
That people do research.
Yeah.
Help.
And
Oh my gosh.
Two Tails, you're super talented. I love seeing your stats work
Yeah.
on the fandom all the time on Tumblr. I love it. I can't get enough. Please, please continue if you have the free time, because I love seeing it. I'm really liking the episode statistics that you're doing. So like certain characters, like what episodes they're together in, like that is awesome. I love it. And it's great for us gift makers and scene pack makers too, because we can see visually where we should go looking for certain scenes. So it's awesome. Thank you so much for being such a resource to all of us.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Seriously. Yeah, no, you do so much. Not only for us, but for everyone on
For the
Tumblr.
fandom.
Yeah, and again, I know we it's just like our thing to drag the early episodes. Thank you for listening to all those.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. That's dedication right there. That's true love. Especially for answering all of our stupid questions. And all the things we got wrong. Thank you for clearing that up, because I'm sure we got many things wrong. Yeah, and then man, this is a side note, but I definitely got to go on Tumblr. I got to request some things from you, Two Tails. I have some snacks I would like to see, and I love the way they organize it together. So yeah, I'll definitely be in your ass box.
Yeah, visually it's so like stunning too. It's very nice and appealing to the eye as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Okay, and for the last section of fan questions and fan comments, we have 2 fan letters.
Yay! 2 more
Which
than I
is
thought.
Crazy. Which is honestly just insane to all of us, genuinely. So dive in. Well, we got our first fan letter from Kiara. Please tell me if I'm saying her name wrong. And I'll read it out right now. They go, "Hi guys, I love your podcast so much. I've been a big fan from the beginning. I have watched the entire Stargate franchise from beginning to the end. But listening to your podcast, I've started seeing some episodes differently, which is super cool. I do have a point to make though. SG1 is the only show with any sort of closure. Atlantis and Universe could have gone a bit more. I personally would have killed to see at least one more season, or at least a movie to finish some of these situations off. They leave us hanging and screaming at the screen for those 2 series, lol. At least we have thick writers. Anyway, I love your podcast, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on some of my favorite episodes from later in the series. Hope you guys are doing well."
Thank you so much.
So much. Another listener from the beginning. That's so. Oh.
Oh my god, that's so sweet. And definitely, I totally agree. You know, I know we give on this podcast, or we kind of talk some shit sometimes. But it's true. S1 is honestly the only one with closure. And honestly, I think I love the finale of S1. I think it's perfect, and I think it fits the tone of the show really well. It's sort of theme of like, we're just going to always be here to keep exploring. And they could have just ended it there, and I would have been satisfied, but they really went above and beyond and gave us 2 movies to sort of wrap everything up. I mean, the first one is kind of like an actual wrap up, and the second one is just like here's a little treat for you guys.
A fun little romp.
Yeah, fun little timeline shenanigans. But that is very true. And I totally agree that it kind of gives SG1 some points. Because especially Universe, that ending. Oh, besties.
I'm scared.
That ending. Oh, girl, it's a cliffhanger.
You haven't seen it, right? Oh my gosh.
One of the worst cliffhangers. You're gonna hate it. Oh, Adora's gonna hate it.
Oh no.
Yeah. For Atlantis, I just like to pretend that like they immediately went to the Pegasus Galaxy and they stayed there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed. I would have liked to have seen it. But my imagination will have to do, I suppose.
The imagination of big writers.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. Thanks. Shout out to the fic writers again.
Seriously, who are pumping out fic like 4 years consistently for 4 years after the show ended, because there were so many ideas, so many places to take Atlantis even after the show ended. So thank you for sharing with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you so much for the letter.
Yes!
Again, you're actually the first fan letter we ever received. So I think we all like collectively kind of like cried and like rolled around in a ball. And we did actually get a follow-up to that, because we did actually send a little message out, and we did get a follow-up, and I'll read that out now. So they said, I was super nervous at first to writing to you guys because I wasn't sure if you guys would see it, but I'm very glad you guys got it. I would love to hear your thoughts on the question I asked, which of course we did. I've been waiting for a good Stargate podcast for some time now. Most that I've found seem super forced and rigid, but you guys have such good chemistry and you're so much fun to listen to.
Oh.
Hope you guys are doing well.
Oh
my God.
Thank you so much for loving our mess.
I know. That's so good to hear, because I also feel like it's hard to find podcasts, and then also when you want, like, I feel like if you find one, you want to stick with it, because there's just like so much content. So I'm just glad we're that for you, that we that our mess is fun to you, because it's a shit ton of fun for us.
Yes. Thank you.
Man.
Thank you for
I know,
choosing
Kira,
us and sending us a message, and
Don't be scared.
yeah,
We don't bite
No.
most of the time.
we're probably more scared of other people than they are of us. So at least for me. So
Yeah.
No, seriously. It is obviously like, it's, I think I've said this before, but like it's no fun just like doing everything alone and like being isolated. Like it's no fun. There's 5 of us in the Stargate franchise left. There's 5 fans left, okay? So, we don't want to be like this like omnipotent force, it's just like speaking from above. Like, please come talk to us. We love it. We love to engage in questions and anything. Not even about the podcast, just about Stargate in general, or even like other sci-fi stuff. We bring up Trek, and we brought up Star Wars. Oh, we'll bring up other nerd stuff sometimes. Yeah, we love it. And also, just side note, thank you for bringing up like the chemistry.
Yeah, that's so sweet. It's so funny because we didn't know each other. I actually, like a while ago, I went back to see, like, because Sam, you were the one who texted me to ask if I wanted to be part of a podcast. I was like, yes. And then I checked a bit more, and we had like one conversation before that where we talked about Teyla, Beth. And I think that's it. And then like a few weeks later, you're like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? We're like, so it's really funny that a few random people just get together and get along so well, and that this also transmits to the listeners. It's really good. And I think because we're like, we have kind of a structure, but also we're like, our structure is kind of to not have a structure. And I think that's what makes it so much fun for us. And because it's, we talk about the stuff we feel about, like we talk about the stuff that we feel like talking about, and we don't try to like stick to a schedule or something. So yeah.
Oh man, that is so funny that you brought that up. I'll finish, I swear. But it's so funny that, we literally had one conversation. Because Dora was like, we should get more people. And I was like, you're right. I was like, well, damn, who do I know? And I'm like, I just know this one person I talked to. I mean, I think I knew other people, but I was like, you were the only person, like only other Atlantis person I really knew besides Tor. I was like,
oh.
at that time, obviously, I was pretty new in the fandom. I like barely started like editing and stuff, so I was just like. But yeah, no, seriously, thank you for I love that our chemistry is like translated. Yeah, and especially because, yeah, we did not know each other. Lightning in a bottle, as Tor likes to say. Kismet, as Tor likes to say.
Yes. Yeah. It's true. I feel like the whole time I had watched Stargate, I was looking for you two. For real. And I'm so no. You're gonna make me cry. So it's nice to be able to like do that together, and then to share that with other people who are maybe looking as well for their people. I hope we can be your people, as these people are my people and we are your people. If that makes sense. Yeah, so you're not alone out there. We are there with
No,
you.
definitely not. Yeah.
Yes.
Tor, go sit in the corner.
What?
Go sit in the damn corner for saying that. Unwarranted. You gotta prepare before you say stuff like that.
Sorry. I didn't know it was
Thank
coming
you.
until it came out, but it came out, so.
Okay, poet. Jesus.
Or always comes up with the most profound, I don't know, quotes. We love you too, Tor.
Oh,
I know.
thank you.
I know, seriously. I mean, I don't think any of us, well, definitely would not be as engaged in the fandom if it wasn't for you two. Of course, definitely wouldn't be still trekking on today. Carrying on with the fandom that is no longer active if it wasn't for you two. And this podcast. And just obviously there's a lot of other people that we interact with that, you know, really make the community come together. But it's definitely this little community we have here and the two of you just make it a fun weekly little event that we have. All right, we're getting
know what to add, but just like, yeah, I'm so glad to be part of this, and this, like the message we got, it's also giving me a new perspective on Stargate, on especially on Atlantis and on the characters, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
It's like, if we don't record for like a month, like we did a while ago, it's just like, I miss those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, where's our Stargate? Where's our stupid discussions that end up going 30 minutes out of like where's our mess of a structure?
Yeah, it honestly feels like the life force is being drained from me until our recording day comes, and then I'm like, oh yeah, right. And I'm rejuvenated.
Yeah.
So I totally get what you mean.
That turned so sappy.
Yeah, now that Tor's made everybody cry, including herself.
Yeah, we were this close. The tears were forming. We were so close. We all barely escaped with our lives. Okay, well, we have one more fan letter.
Oh, more emotional.
I don't know. Now that we're in the mood, now that we really set the scene. Okay, and it's from our good old friend Portland with you.
Ah, yay!
Hey, okay, and they said, long-time listener, first-time caller. First off, I wanted to tell you how much I love your podcast. It's the only Stargate podcast I've heard that captures the feeling of talking with your friends about your fandom. Okay, we're gonna come back to that. Rewatching season 1 of Atlantis, I remember how many things I loved, but it was also bittersweet to see things the show didn't get quite right. Specifically for me, the character of Ford. He is by far the most underserved main character. While we're lucky to have an active fandom ready to supply everyone with headcanons and fics galore, the writers seem to have almost totally forgotten Ford by the middle of the season. It's a thought that troubles me, especially knowing that the two most popular, obvious writer favorite characters are white men. I love the show, but the way they treated the character is a stain on the overall extremely enjoyable season. He deserved a substantive episode just focused on him to cement his character on the show. But I digress. Thank you so much for the podcast, and I'm looking forward to season 2. With love, Portland with you.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
thank you so much. Thank you for your fic. Thank you for listening. Thank you for letting us know that you're listening. We appreciate it. And you are 100% correct, and we totally agree regarding Ford. I think that so much more could have been done. And like you had mentioned, particularly having a spotlight episode for him, like we had for Elizabeth, like we had for Teyla, which I think really served those characters. I think Ford deserved one as well as a member of the team. And I think would have done a lot to elevate his character. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Yeah, I just feel like it was a missed opportunity in terms of his character in relation to other characters on the show, even as well. Yeah, and I'm just thankful that other viewers are willing to share their personal take on his story and where it could have gone or where it should have gone on the show textually.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about all the times we said, where's Ford? Or what did Ford have to do in this episode? And it was just never there. And yeah, so I'm glad that other people see as well the missed opportunity and the wasted potential with his character. Yeah. We will not forget him.
Nope.
We will not. I definitely think, thankfully he is in season 2, for at least a few episodes. But I'm sure, we'll bring him up, especially because I think in our Puddles canon, what did we say? Didn't we say he was just he just transferred to another unit in Atlantis?
Yeah, didn't he get his own team or something?
Yeah,
yes.
He's with Cadman. Him and oh my god,
Yeah.
him and Cadman would be so funny. Stop.
Yeah.
Him, Cadman, and throw in Parish, and you just be having a ball.
Oh!
BT
That would give some
vibes.
spicy shit. Oh.
Yeah, that's fun.
I know Ford and Cadman are I feel like they fucking hated each other in the beginning. They were fully beefing all the time. Maybe Lauren's on the team too. Yeah. And Lauren had to pull them aside, or John, and someone was like, you guys need to sit your asses down and work out your shit. And eventually it just become best bros. I just feel I can just always see them every Friday they're just taking shots in Zelenka's bar.
Yep.
They're those they're playing dogs. That's the vibe I get with Ford and Cadman.
Yeah. Definitely.
And Parish is their emotional support scientist. They drag along, but he gets wasted after one glass of wine. So he's just slumped over at the table, and they're just next to him. And they're like, "We can get you home, Parish," and he's like, "No, team bonding." He's like, "Team bonding. I have to be there for this." Bitch. They're like, Lauren's gonna kill us if
Right? I was just gonna say that we're gonna get an earful from Lauren about what they did with his boyfriend.
my boyfriend out for too late.
He has to water his
Have him
plants
back
in the
by
morning.
11. And he's trying to come back completely smashed. And there's times Lauren's just all right, come here, bud, and picking him up bridal style out of the bar.
Yeah. He only had one glass. One glass? You let him drink one full glass?
Oh my gosh. I know, I'm ranting about plants when he's drunk.
Oh,
It's
yes.
me. Even when he's
Oh, yes.
sober, he's talking about plants, but when he's drunk, it's just a completely different ball game.
It's no filter. It becomes manic.
Yeah. He's like, we should have plants here, as I leave the bar. He's like, Zelenka, more plants!
Zelenka tries to keep one alive, but it keeps dying. Like, and every week Parish brings him a new one, and at the end of the week he's like, all right, here's a new one.
The replacement goldfish of Atlantis.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. And I can see Paris like drunk too. He's just like yelling, or he's like scolding Zelenka. Like, I don't know how you kill a plant in a week. And he's like, what is in this bar? He's like, what is in this alcohol? Like, when you feed it? He's like, it's just like, I don't know what to tell you, bud.
Oh man.
Anyways.
Anyways.
On that tangent, back to the letter. Yeah, no, I mean, we totally agree with you about Ford, and I think it is it's important to bring up the fact that the most popular, obvious writer favorites are two white men who they believe are straight, or who they thought was straight. But, and I think it's a big issue, honestly, in Atlantis, and we'll see it going forward. It doesn't get any better with Ron. I mean, it gets like a little better because they give him like certain episodes. Like he gets like one a season. I don't even remember some of Teyla's in season 2, but I guess we'll get to that. So yeah, it's a big issue, and I think going forward, I think we'll definitely, bring that up to call out the sort of negligence on the writer's part for sure. And, Ash mentioned earlier, but yeah, we'll definitely keep bringing forth as sort of a reminder, sort of a, hey, remember that guy? Y'all did so dirty? Well, I do, because guess what? Ford's in this season now.
Right. As much as we delight in the show so often, there's always, we do a good balance, I think, and there's room to criticize, too.
Yeah.
Some critical thinking involved in our enjoyment of our show, so.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
We're not kiss asses.
No, definitely not.
No.
If you want to, I'm sorry. If this is not the podcast for you, if you want to praise every part of the show, unfortunately. One last thing I wanted to bring up about the fan letter is, again, thank you so much for saying that our podcast kind of captures the feeling of talking to friends about fandom. Because that's seriously, like, the whole point.
Yeah, that was our goal, right?
Literally, and yeah, and if you look back, I posted messages of Tor and I originally on the idea for Straight. And I think that was one of the things, messages, if they're not, I definitely think that we mentioned it else. Yeah, I think those Tor specifically, it was like, oh, like, we can talk about, like, fandom stuff, we can, like, like, dive into things that maybe other podcasts don't, and I think that's exactly what we're doing. And that's kind of, that's just our whole goal, is we want it to be, hey, it's not only we're talking about the show, but we're also talking about fandom. It's like, what was going on during that time, what big stuff, and just like kind of what the fandom thinks today. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Definitely the vibe we're going for. We want it to sound like, you're in a room with a bunch of your friends just talking about the show, so.
Ending comments.
Yeah, just repeating what you said, Sam. Thank you to everybody who listened to our season 1 watch through, who sent us an ask on Tumblr, who sent us a message on Instagram, who did a fic or drew some art of our fun headcanons, who sent us an email. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting us into your fandom space and calling us your friend. We love doing this. We're excited for season 2. Hope you're excited too. And can't wait to see you there.
Well said. Yeah, just thank you. I never imagined that people would actually listen to us, or I don't know, maybe it's just a me problem. But just the idea that we have so much fun talking about something we love, and then we send it out into the world, and other people have fun with that as well. That's just, I think that's such a gift, and I think that's a great thing about fandom, and I'm glad that everybody can kind of find like their little corner and then start collecting people, maybe. I don't know. And yeah, thank you so much to everyone who listens to us, to everyone who creates things based on our ideas and our wacky thoughts. That's so amazing. I can't even put into words how much that means to me, and how happy I am every time I see anything that someone else creates for us, kind of. Yeah, just thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, we get all sappy again. We got sappy there. But we came back. We fun. Okay, and of course, tune in next time for The Intruder.
Yeah, season 2.
Yeah,
Season 2, baby. All right. Don't forget to check out our most recent episode on everywhere you listen to the podcast, and check us out on social media. Check out all the links down below. We're gonna link a shit ton of things. Who created things for us and everything. So check those out, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, you clowns, listen up. I don't often get a chance to say this, so savor it. Good work, boys and girls. Let's go home.